This movie is basically a love letter to journalists, which is set in an outpost of an American newspaper in a fictional 20th century French city that brings to life a collection of stories published in the French Dispatch magazine. It's an anthology of 3 unrelated stories about small-town French life, framed as features in the eponymous magazine, which is published as a supplement to a Kansas newspaper. The premise of the film's construction is that each of these segments represents a long article being published in the magazine's final edition, in memoriam of its long-term editor, Arthur Howitzer Jr. This movie sees director Wes Anderson putting forth a love letter to journalists and the written word. Unfortunately, the movie is a great example of style over substance. It has an amusing surface but no heart. It's cute but kind of dull. The movie is all surface without any guiding spirit to make us care. The director's long-standing problem is how to convince us there is heart behind his pretty pictures. It not only has no feeling, it's utterly interminable and dull. There are some sporadically delightful moments here. Unfortunately, it's all done with his trademark style that if you watch many of his movies, it would just bounce right off of you. There's a bit more variety here than usual Wes Anderson movies, but before too long, it reverts back to the sort of thing he's been riving on for decades now. Wes Anderson almost goes overboard with style here. The director's hyper-aesthetic takes us through galleries that unfold into more and more galleries. Every minute of the film is dazzling and delightful to behold, and you would probably be able to guess it's a Wes Anderson work from any randomly selected 30 seconds. The movie has a lot of stars and stories, but with no plot or coherence. The cast is uniformly strong, but no one really gets a chance to shine. There isn't a standout, but all are completely buying into Wes Anderson's style. Sporting another high-profile ensemble, all crumble beneath the weight of his signature aesthetic. You might probably enjoy the visuals, but completely give up navigating this film. The pacing here is all off. The segments are too long, but also too short to invest you in the characters. In short, all the most pronounced and defining traits of the filmmaker's style come together here, multiplied by 10 or 20. But unfortunately, it's end up confusing in terms of narratives. The movie gains probably in terms of compositional mastery, but it loses in the definition of the characters, in the embodiment of the story, and in the depth of the plot. Out of 3 segments, not including a framing story, there's only one that gets what it's after, with the soul and the heart along the way. It's the only one that is coherent enough to make us care. This is a story about a convicted murderer who becomes an artist in prison. Benicio Del Toro is the artist. Adrien Brody is the art gallerist who makes him famous. They are the only actual well-drafted characters in a sea of appearances. The other stories are very hard to follow and have no relation to the first one. What's supposed to hold them together is that we return to Bill Murray and the magazine's offices. Some may argue that the filmmakers want to design a remarkable visual exercise to create visual literature. The problem is that this movie is drowning in its own excess. We've been here before, seen these tricks with the same kind of paragraphs, but it fails to engage on any comprehensive level. Overall, this movie is exactly for you if what you want is some style, especially visual achievement. But stay away from this if what you're looking for is the satisfying narrative.